everything you've ever believed to be separation. The feeling of being cut off, isolated, or distant is only a fragment of a much deeper truth. Beneath that perception lies a silent power, a dormant force pulsing quietly within each of us. It's subtle, almost unnoticeable, yet profoundly potent. At any given moment, it could rise up and shatter the illusion of ordinary life, revealing something far more expansive, something far more real. This is the essence of what many now call the zero-point field. A boundless, invisible force that vibrates beneath the surface of all things, beyond the grasp of our five senses, but very much alive. Imagine an ocean of energy, unseen but omnipresent, that hums with infinite potential. That's what the zero-point field is, a field of unmeasurable possibility, a quietly sustaining existence as we know it. Most people will walk through life unaware of its presence, unaware that this infinite source of vitality lies just beneath the surface of their own consciousness. But once you begin to awaken to its presence, nothing ever quite looks the same again. That's what we're diving into now. Not theory, not mysticism, but a raw truth that could permanently shift how you view your life, your mind, your energy, your place in the universe. We've all experienced it, young, waking up already exhausted, as if the day has stolen your strength before it's even begun. Or feeling emotionally frayed, mentally scattered, and you can't quite explain why. It's not just physical tiredness. It's not just stress. What you're sensing is a disconnect, a loss of communion with something essential. That something isn't external. It's not another cup of coffee. It's not more sleep. It's not another productivity hack. It's the missing link to your true energetic foundation. It's the living energy that surrounds you, flows through you, and ultimately sustains you. And when you are cut off from it, you feel it, not in your mind, but in your entire being. According to quantum physics, the zero-point field isn't a metaphor. It is the most fundamental level of reality, the place where matter dissolves into pure potential, where nothing becomes everything, even in what science once considered a total vacuum, a space of absolute nothingness. There is still a measurable pulse, a rhythmic shimmer of energy that never stops. It is not seen, but it is real. It's the background vibration of the universe, and from that subtle vibration, all things arise. Now take that concept and allow it to settle into your spiritual awareness. Suddenly, the zero-point field becomes more than just a scientific curiosity. It becomes a sacred bridge, a meeting point between the universe out there and the infinite depth of consciousness within. It's the space where time disappears, where limits fall away, where the illusion of separation fades. It's the space of pure being, of raw potential, of untapped power. And it's available to you right now. What would it be like to connect to that space every day? What would it feel like to plug into an endless source of renewal? One that heals your body, clears your mind, uplifts your spirit. That energy is always here, but few know how to tune into it. It doesn't come through force. It doesn't arrive through striving. It responds to stillness, to openness, to presence. The more you quiet the noise within, the louder that field begins to sing. No gadgets, no gurus, no secret formulas. All you need is a willingness to be here, to breathe, to feel, to listen. And we'll show you how. But before we begin the how, let's return to the why. For centuries, science and spirituality were positioned as enemies. One chased data, formulas, and logic. The other pursued intuition, energy, and the unseen. And somewhere between them, truth was split in two. Science dismissed what couldn't be measured. Spirituality was often mocked for what it couldn't prove. But what if they were both staring at the same mystery, simply speaking in different tongues? The zero-point field emerged not in monasteries, but in laboratories. It was born from quantum experiments, from physicists probing the smallest building blocks of matter. What they found was unexpected. Even in spaces of supposed emptiness, where no atoms, no particles, no light should exist, there was still motion, still vibration, still energy. This strange, persistent hum was eventually called zero-point energy, energy that remains even at absolute zero temperature, even when everything else is stripped away. That discovery shook the foundations of modern science. It was a glimpse into the underlying pulse of reality, and pioneers like Max Planck, the father of quantum physics, openly acknowledged it. All matter, he said, originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. Others followed: Einstein, Schrödinger, David Bohm, each inching closer to the idea that the universe is not just matter, but mind. Bohm even suggested what we see as physical reality is just the surface layer. Beneath it lies a hidden order, a deeper realm of interconnectedness. A kind of cosmic web, invisible but alive. And now thinkers like Lynn Mechtagart and Hal Puthoff continue that exploration, linking consciousness to this field in ways that feel less like science fiction and more like remembering something we always knew. What's fascinating is that ancient wisdom already spoke of this. Long before quantum equations, spiritual lineages described an energetic matrix connecting all life. Vedantic prana, Taoist ki, Polynesian mana, and the life force known as spirit or soul. These weren't myths. They were early attempts to describe what modern science is only now beginning to measure: a vibrational field that sustains everything and responds to intention. Once you realize that, everything shifts. You stop running on fumes. You stop chasing energy in caffeine, approval, or adrenaline. You stop relying on external validation for internal power. You begin to see that your thoughts, your emotions, your breath, they all interact with this field. They shape your reality from the inside out. They carry weight. But when you're disconnected from this energy, the world feels flat, heavy, fragmented. You start asking yourself questions like, why do I feel so depleted? Or where did my joy go? You're not broken. You're just unplugged. And the signal calling you back isn't weak. It's been whispering through your fatigue, through your apathy, through your longing. It's calling you to return. Not to a place, but to your own energetic truth. Because here's what's real: the zero-point field is not out there. It's not reserved for the elite or the enlightened. It's not hidden in temples or distant galaxies. It is here, in this moment, in the stillness between your thoughts, in the breath you just took, in the pulse of your own cells. It lives within you, and always has. When your mind is clear, your emotions are open, and your body is calm, the energy flows without resistance. You feel light, connected, creative. You know what to say. You feel aligned. But when stress accumulates, when emotions fester, when your thoughts race in loops, that flow becomes blocked. The energy doesn't disappear. It just gets tangled in resistance. That's why healing and aligning your internal world is the most direct way to activate this power. Picture your body like a finely tuned instrument, or a living antenna. When it's clean, grounded, and vibrating in harmony, it can receive the subtle signals of the 0-point field. It becomes a transmitter and a receiver. And the first step to tuning in, conscious breath. Breathe, slowly, deeply, with awareness. When you do this, you calm your nervous system and tell the universe, I'm here. I'm open. I'm listening. Second, feel elevated emotions. Gratitude, compassion, wonder. These are not just nice feelings. They are energetic frequencies. They attune you to the vibrational current of the field. This isn't self-help fluff. It's vibrational physics. And third, cultivate silence. Not just external silence. Internal quiet. Meditative stillness. A moment without distraction, without scrolling, without fixing. Just being. In that space, you begin to sense the field. It speaks not with words, but with presence. And when you meet it there, your energy begins to flow again. Creativity returns. Clarity sharpens. Even your physical body starts to respond. You don't need a miracle. You don't need to be saved. You are the portal. You are the living, breathing threshold between the visible and the unseen. And that's where the journey begins. There's a quiet H within the human spirit. A hunger not for food or comfort, but for connection. Most people don't even recognize it. They wake up with a heaviness in their chest, a fog in their mind, a feeling of moving through life with the volume turned down. And so, they label it stress, burnout, lack of motivation, maybe even a ging. But the deeper truth is this: what you're really experiencing is energetic starvation. Your soul isn't tired from too much doing. It's tired from not enough being. You've simply lost contact with the current that gives your existence meaning, light, and vitality. Being cut off from your own inner energy is like running a high-performance engine with no oil. It works for a while, but over time, everything starts to grind. Clarity dims. Emotions become erratic. The body aches, and the will to create, to explore, to feel deeply. It just fades. Not because you failed, but because you're unplugged from the field that keeps everything alive. The 0-point field isn't an abstract idea. It is your power source. When you are attuned to it, life feels rich and vibrant. When you drift from it, everything feels muted. But here's what makes this discovery so beautiful: that power, that energy, that sacred fuel, it hasn't left you. It's waiting, quietly, constantly, patiently humming beneath the surface of your awareness. The only thing standing in the way is the noise, the debris, the mental and emotional clutter that builds up over time. And the process of reconnection is not about adding more. It's about gently clearing what doesn't belong. So, how do you know when you've become disconnected? There are signs, and they're not always loud. In fact, they're often subtle. You feel tired, even after a full night of sleep. You wake up feeling like life is a chore instead of an adventure. You find yourself reaching for constant stimulation. Caffeine, sugar, a mindless scrolling, just to get through the day. You start losing your sense of purpose. Things you once loved feel distant. You're going through the motions, but something inside feels missing. Your stress builds without clear cause. There's tension in your body, tightness in your chest, but you don't know why. Your emotions become unpredictable. You're either overwhelmed or numb. You'll react instead of respond. And at the deepest level, you feel separated from yourself, as if your inner world is hidden behind a thick pane of glass. You can see the light, but you can't touch it. These are not weaknesses. They are signals, invitations, warnings from your higher self, your soul, that you've wandered too far from home. And home isn't a place. It's an energetic state. It's the frequency of being plugged into the source, and you can return to it anytime by clearing the path. You see, within you is a road, a channel, that connects your inner being to the 0-point field. Over time, this path can become blocked. Layers of fear, resentment, guilt, old wounds, unexpressed grief. They all act like boulders on that road. They weigh down your vibration. They interrupt the flow. They close the valve. So the first step is not to force energy through a clogged system. It's to cleanse, soften, and reopen. And that begins with conscious embodiment. Move your body, but move it with awareness. Not as a workout, not as a task, but as a ritual. Your body is a tuning fork. When you move with presence, you shake loose stagnant energy. Try walking without distraction. No talking. Just the rhythm of your feet, the air on your skin, the sensation of being alive. Or explore fluid movements. Tai Chi yoga. Intuitive dance. It's not about performance. It's about unlocking flow. Energy needs space to move. And when you bring your full awareness to each movement, you start to feel shifts. Subtle but powerful. Water is another ally in this process. Water doesn't just cleanse physically. It has a memory, a vibration. A shower or a bath can become sacred when done with intention. As the water touches your body, visualize it absorbing the tension, the heaviness, the clutter. Watch it all wash away. Speak words of release. I let go. I return to myself. I renew. You can add herbs like lavender, rosemary, or chamomile. They carry their own frequencies and assist in the energetic detox. Simple rituals, profound results. But perhaps the most transformative practice is also the simplest thing: stillness, the art of being. Without doing, without fixing, without running, just be. Set aside 5 minutes. Sit, no music, no stimulation. Eyes open or closed. Watch your thoughts like clouds. Don't follow. Don't resist. Let the river flow. This is where the energy lives. In the quiet between your words. In the space between your breaths. That emptiness you're afraid of. It's not emptiness. It's presence. And the more time you spend in that stillness, the more you realize, you're not seeking something new. You're remembering something ancient. Sound can also assist in this remembrance. Everything in the universe vibrates, including you, and sound is one of the fastest ways to recalibrate your energy. Frequencies like 4032 Hz or 528 Hz can align your body with harmony and healing. These aren't just numbers. They are vibrational keys that unlock flow. Listen to them while lying down. Breathe slowly. Let the sound move through you. You can chant, hum, sing, even intuitively. Use your own voice as an instrument. It doesn't matter how it sounds to the outside world. What matters is how it resonates inside. Feel it vibrating in your chest, your bones, your cells. This is the language of the field. And finally, the most underestimated force in all of this: gratitude. Not the kind you perform, not the polite thank yous, but real, embodied gratitude. The kind that makes your chest expand. Gratitude isn't just a nice feeling. It's a frequency that dissolves resistance and opens portals. When you feel grateful, you are telling the field, I see the abundance that already exists. I honor the now, and the field responds. Make it a practice. Write down 3 things you're grateful for, but go beyond the surface. Write why. Feel it. Gratitude for breath, for sunlight, for the strength to keep going. Let it be real. Let it be felt. This is not a mental game. This is vibrational transformation. Now, some people will hear all of this and think it sounds like fantasy, like wishful thinking. The word infinite energy still triggers skepticism in many minds, as if it's something only spiritual masters or monks can access. The image they have is of a floating guru, immune to pain, glowing with perfection. That's a myth, and it's time we shattered it. Infinite energy does not mean you never feel tired. It doesn't mean you'll never be sad or frustrated. You're human. The goal is not to avoid human emotion. The truth is deeper on. Infinite energy means that underneath all the waves, the stress, the emotions, the thoughts, there is an ever-present current that never runs out, a wellspring of clarity and power within you that is always available. Not just in peace, but even in chaos. Not just in meditation, but in real life. And it's not magic. It's not something you buy in a course or earn in a ritual. It's a frequency, a practice, a relationship with presence. The 0-point field is like an underground river running beneath your feet. But you have to open. You have to become receptive. Not perfectly, just consistently. You don't need to understand every theory. You don't need to master any technique. What matters most is consistency. Small, sacred acts, repeated, create big shifts. A 10-minute breath practice, a few minutes of silence, a pause before reacting, an intention set in the morning. These are the daily touches that open your energy field and allow the current to flow. And when the current flows, things begin to change. Not because the world has changed, but because your frequency has. You begin to notice things you missed. You begin to respond instead of react. You feel stronger, lighter, more anchored. You become magnetic, not in some mystical way, but in a very real energetic way. People feel your presence. Life begins to meet you differently. The most important thing to remember is that this isn't about waiting for something or someone to change your life. The tools are already within you. The connection has never left you. You simply forgot how to listen. And now is the time to remember. The 0-point field is not just science. It's not just spirituality. It's the convergence of both. It's the meeting point between intellect and intuition, between thought and feeling, between doing and being. And when you enter that space, not through effort, but through openness, you awaken a part of yourself that has been quietly waiting, patiently loving, and endlessly whole. Most of us were raised in a worldview that treats the universe like a machine. Solid, predictable, measurable. We were taught to value only what could be touched, seen, or proven. That which couldn't be explained in formulas or labeled by science was dismissed as fantasy, irrelevant, or naive. But this way of thinking has left us disconnected, not just from the world around us, but from the vast potential that lives inside us. Because the most essential forces in life are invisible love-vision, presence, vitality, inspiration. All subtle, all powerful, and all flowing from the same mysterious source. That source is not fantasy. It's real. And quantum physics is now offering language to describe what ancient wisdom already knew. That reality is not fixed, and matter is not the ultimate foundation of the universe. Instead, beneath every atom, every object, every thought, lies a sea of energy. This is the zero-point field, and the more you begin to understand it, the more empowered you become. Not just intellectually, but spiritually, energetically, creatively. A quantum physics doesn't just explain the microscopic world. It redefines what is possible. When researchers observed particles behaving in unpredictable ways, existing in multiple places at once, changing based on observation, they were forced to accept a radical idea that consciousness itself plays a role in shaping reality. The observer effect, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, wave-particle duality. These aren't just theories. They are evidence that your awareness, your perception, influences the world around you. And at the center of it all lies this field, the zero-point field, an endless, ever-present vibrational energy that exists even in the absence of anything else. A vacuum that is not empty, but alive with subtle, infinite motion. The implications are staggering. It means that silence is not nothingness. It means that stillness is not lifeless. It means that every moment, no matter how ordinary, is pulsing with creative energy, just waiting for you to interact with it. But here's the thing. This energy doesn't respond to thought alone. It responds to feeling, to frequency, to the depth of your inner state. And that's where the bridge between science and spirituality becomes undeniable. Meditation and visualization are not spiritual luxuries. They are energetic technologies, and their purpose is simple: to align your internal frequency with the field of infinite potential. Not by escaping life, but by engaging with it on a higher level. When you meditate, you're not emptying your mind. You're creating space. You're stepping back from the noise long enough to hear the subtle hum of truth. You're allowing your natural energy to reset. Reel in and remember. And visualization. That's the act of shaping vibration through emotion and image. It's not enough to think of what you want. You have to feel it. Embody it. Imagine it so vividly that your body responds. The zero-point field doesn't just read your words. It reads your state. If you visualize with joy, gratitude, and conviction, you are tuning into a specific frequency. You're telling the field, this is where I want to vibrate. And the field, in its quiet, intelligent way, begins to rearrange the world around you to reflect that signal. You don't need hours. 10 minutes of aligned focus, done consistently, is enough to begin shifting your reality. Sit, breathe, see the energy. Imagine it flowing into you from above, from the earth, from within. A radiant light moving through your cells, clearing your mind, warming your heart. Feel it. Let it anchor in your body. Let it move into your day. This isn't about pretending or forcing. It's about resonance. When your inner world matches the energy of what you wish to experience, you stop chasing and start attracting. Not from need, but from knowing. Not from scarcity, but from connection. People who begin this journey often report moments that defy explanation. Not because they're chasing miracles, but because they've created space for them. Tears during meditation. Not from sadness, but from the overwhelming feeling of coming home. Insights that arrive in silence. Clear, undeniable truths that reshape decisions, heal wounds, and restore hope. Shifts in the body, a sudden lightness, a flow of energy, a release of old tension. Relationships transform. Conflicts dissolve. Opportunities appear. Life starts to respond differently. Because you are vibrating differently. And it's not that the world has changed. It's that your field has changed. Your signal is clearer. Your channel is open. You are no longer reacting from the surface. You are creating from the source. Still, this connection requires care. Because even when you begin to access the zero-point field, there's one thing that can undo your progress: energetic leakage. It's like trying to fill a cup that's full of holes. No matter how much energy flows in, it slips away. And often, those leaks are not from massive traumas or dramatic events. They are from the small, unconscious ways you give away your power. Every time you entertain thoughts that are not yours, fears projected by others, shame inherited from the past, doubt whispered by old beliefs, you weaken your signal. Every time you let someone else's emotions override your own, you hand over your frequency. You begin to vibrate in someone else's storm. That's why energy protection isn't about building walls. It's about remembering your sovereignty. It's about honoring the boundary between what is yours and what is not. And that's not selfish. It's sacred. Start to notice, how do you feel after certain interactions? Do you feel drained, confused, heavy? That's your system telling you something. Pay attention to the environments you enter, the media you consume, the conversations you engage in. Everything carries a vibration, and not all of it supports your connection to the field. So how do you protect your energy without closing your heart? First, clear intentionally. Each day, find a moment to reset. It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be conscious. Breathwork, journaling, a shower with intention, visualization, speaking your truth out loud, releasing old stories. Whatever clears your field, make it a ritual. Second, set internal boundaries. When you feel an emotion that doesn't feel like yours, pause. Ask, is this mine? If not, gently let it go. You are not required to carry the weight of others to be kind. Compassion doesn't mean absorption. You can care deeply without losing yourself. Third, cultivate what expands you. Laughter, art, music, nature, movement. These aren't distractions. They are frequency boosters. They realign your vibration with joy, peace, and vitality. They help you stay anchored in your own truth, even when the world pulls in every direction. This is how you hold your field. With awareness, with care, with love. And when you do, something incredible happens. The zero-point field not only flows through you, it begins to respond to you. You become a co-creator, a conscious participant in the shaping of your reality. But consistency is key. You cannot connect once and expect lasting transformation. Just like a muscle, this connection grows with practice. The more you return to the field, the stronger your alignment becomes. Not from force, but from devotion, from presence. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Start in the morning, before the noise of the day. Sit, breathe, place your hand on your heart. Say thank you, not for anything specific, just for being, for the chance to live, to grow, to awaken. That alone lifts your vibration. Throughout the day, insert small pauses. A breath before responding, a smile to yourself, a moment of stillness in the chaos. These micro moments compound. They build energetic momentum. They keep your channel open. At night, release. Let the day fall away. Let go of what you didn't finish, what didn't go as planned. Return to stillness. Imagine light flowing through your body as you sleep. Let the field hold you. You don't have to become someone else. You don't have to escape life. You just have to remember what you already are. A living expression of infinite energy, already connected, already enough. And when you begin to live from that place, not as a theory, but as a state of being, your life becomes a different kind of story. One written not by circumstance, but by consciousness. One fueled not by survival, but by sacred intention. You become a quiet force, a calm storm, a beacon of clarity in a noisy world. Not because you're perfect, not because you never waver, but because you remember how to return, again and again, breath by breath, choice by choice, moment by moment. That is the path. That is the practice. That is the power. There is something profoundly beautiful about remembering. Not remembering facts or events, but remembering who you are. Beneath the noise, beneath the masks, beneath the roles you've learned to play. At the core of everything you've been searching for is not a destination, but a return. A quiet homecoming to your own energy, your own presence, your own truth. And the 0-point field is not separate from that. It is the space in which that remembering happens. It's not somewhere you go. It's a frequency you tune into. A place you realign with over and over again. And like any relationship, it deepens through time, through trust, through intention. It's not about how much you know or how perfect your practice is. It's about your willingness to keep showing up, to sit with your breath, to feel what's real, to be honest about your blocks, and to keep choosing presence even when it's inconvenient. Especially when it's inconvenient. Because the truth is, the world will keep offering distractions, life will keep throwing curveballs, emotions will rise, doubt will visit, and still the field will be there. Constant, patient, unchanging. It doesn't punish. It doesn't push. It simply waits for you to turn inward and remember the quiet power that has been with you since the beginning. This remembering doesn't require a retreat in the mountains or a dramatic transformation. It starts with something far more subtle. Reclaiming moments. Moments of silence. Moments of gratitude. Moments of deep breath. That's where the reconnection happens, in the in-between spaces, between thoughts, between words, in the pause before action. That's where the frequency of the 0-point field speaks. When you learn to listen to that space, you begin to feel a new rhythm emerge inside you, one that doesn't match the frantic pace of the external world. It's slower, deeper, wiser. And when you begin living from that rhythm, life begins to change. You're no longer pulled in 1,000 directions by fear, expectation, or noise. You're anchored, rooted, alive. Even the way you respond to challenges shifts. You stop seeing obstacles as punishments and begin recognizing them as mirrors, each one offering you a chance to fine-tune your alignment. To ask, where have I disconnected? What belief am I holding onto that no longer serves me? Where is the energy asking to move again? These questions don't weaken you. They empower you. Because they bring you back to the one place where your real power has always been the present moment. You realize that healing is not about fixing yourself. It's about releasing what you are not. All the layers of fear, shame, guilt, comparison, and doubt. They are not you. They are echoes of a past you didn't choose to carry. And when you begin releasing them, something sacred happens. You create space. And in that space, The 0-point field flows again, without force, without resistance, without effort. And this flow, it is intelligent. It brings clarity, not confusion. It brings synchronicities that feel like the universe winking at you. You think of someone, and they call. You ask for a sign, and the world responds. Not because you've gained some magical power, but because you've cleared enough noise to finally hear the language of energy, the language of life itself. That's what true alignment is. It's not about having a perfect life. It's about living with enough awareness to recognize when you're off course and gently bringing yourself back, again and again, not with judgment, but with love, with grace. And perhaps the most transformative realization of all is this: you don't need to wait for the future to feel connected. You don't need to accomplish more, fix everything, or become someone else. You are already enough to plug into the infinite. Right now, just as you are, the only requirement is your presence, your sincerity, your willingness to pause, even if just for a breath, and feel what's alive inside you. That's where the energy starts to move again. That's where vitality returns. That's where creativity is reborn. You don't need another escape. You need a return to the now, to the breath, to the silence where everything begins again. The 0-point field is not some exclusive secret. It's not reserved for the enlightened or the elite. It's the fabric of reality. It's the invisible presence behind every heartbeat, every tree, every wave, every star. And it's in you, right now, in your cells, in your awareness, in your breath. So protect your energy like the sacred force it is, not out of fear, but out of love. Cleanse it regularly. Tend to it like a garden. Remove what no longer belongs. Water it with presence. Feed it with truth. Surround it with intention. And trust that what you cultivate inside will bloom outside. Your presence, not your performance, is your greatest power. And as you begin to live this way, others will feel it. Without a word, they will notice the shift in you. Your calm, your clarity, your groundedness. You'll begin to influence the world not by pushing it, but by vibrating differently within it. You become a mirror for what's possible, a reminder to others of their own light. Not because you're trying to teach them, but because you're living it. That's the quiet revolution. Not fixing the world from the outside in, but shifting the world from the inside out. You don't have to wait. You don't have to be ready. You simply have to begin. Right here, right now. Close your eyes. Breathe. Place your hand on your heart. And remember, you are the field. You are the signal. You are the light you've been searching for.